Hello, it's Paul Clegg here, and today I've got the pleasure of interviewing Barry Tinton, who I've known for maybe 4 or 5 years, but only vaguely known. Our paths haven't crossed that intently, and Barry has been involved in a marketing online hub that we run here, and I've found his contribution at those meetings particularly helpful. Barry, welcome.
Hi, Paul. Nice to be here.
Your company is called Aeium. Is that right? Is that how to pronounce it?
Yes, it is. It's a strange word, but when I set the company up, I wanted it to start with A and be nice and short for people to type in. I wanted aeiou.com, i.e. the vowels, but that was far too expensive. So you can say it any way you like, as long as I can send you an invoice.
That's good. That's good. I must admit, there'll be people all over the country looking it up, wondering whether it's Latin or Greek or whatever. What I particularly like, coming as a marketing man, what I like is your tagline, and I think that could prove to be something we can explore during this interview, and that is innovative marketing media. I don't see many printers or print people using such a phrase. Where does that come from?
Apart from traditional ink and paper, I do some other products which are not what you would call traditional print. I'm doing a job at the moment for a guy who's making maps, and the maps are made out of a synthetic paper. They're utterly waterproof and indestructible and perfect for climbing up a mountain. So we offer products that are, as I say, not traditional bits of paper, but things like screens in books and all sorts of odd things. I don't want to be seen as a commodity printer. I want to be able to offer a service which is a greater value to the client, rather than just, £30 for a box of business cards.
Well, I know from our conversations online, you seem to contribute with a marketing brain, and I can resonate with that. I think that's very welcoming, because a lot of people in business will see somebody that's a printer, they want certain jobs done, and then we'll palm that off. But it's nice to be able to talk to somebody that will look at marketing solutions. How long have you had the business? How long have you been in this business?
I'm in my 7th year now. I've been in print for probably 20-25 years, so without getting a calculator out, but I've always run or run businesses, not necessarily print businesses. Previous to this job, I've been in electronics, and I've been in the defense industry, and I've made motor cars. So there's always been a product that offers some benefit to the consumer, not necessarily a commodity, if you see what I mean. It's so I look at things slightly differently. I don't say to people, buy this piece of paper. I say, what do you want that piece of paper to do for your business? And that's a subtly different question.
Yes. I've dealt with printers over many, many years, both in corporate and running my own business. And I have rarely come across anybody that will be able that I can sit down with and brainstorm the project. And I think most people, that's very rare. I think a lot of businesses, they don't have their own marketing department. They don't have the funds to do that. So they almost do the marketing themselves. So it's very good when somebody can come in and be able to share those marketing ideas and maybe that advice. And if you've come from those different industries and run your own business in that way, then I should imagine that that is particularly valuable.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have in their minds a message they want to get over, and they come up with the more straightforward, basic ideas. And I could sometimes add something that's a little bit different. Have you thought about doing this or doing that? Something that just helps them be a little more creative. And we all need to stand out in the marketplace one way or the other.
I think also we also need to make sure that whenever we're having anything, just for the moment, printed, that we need to get the best advice. And although I come from a marketing background, and most people you deal with probably won't, it's all very well to say, I want this, but I know that certain print runs and print sizes, if they're done in a certain different way, they can be twice as expensive as they should be. So I've always valued at least a printer giving me advice on that. Do you find that's a common challenge that people have got?
Particularly these days. I used to work for a company that printed colour supplements for Sunday magazines, and a print run would be, literally millions of copies. Today, now those types of businesses are struggling because people don't want millions of the same thing. I have a digital press. I can easily operate on very short runs. And I also have the advantage of being able to personalize each particular piece of paper with a message. So it could have an individual's address on. It could say, Dear Paul, rather than Dear Sir or Dear Sir/Madam. So we can do a lot of things with digital print, which traditional litho and gravure type presses, just can only dream of.
It's really about matching the right medium for what you want to achieve.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if someone said to me, Barry, I want 30,000 of a product, I would look at my press and think, nope, that's wrong. That's the wrong press for that job. But given my knowledge and contacts of the print industry, I know who's got one. And so I'll be able to say, I can manage that for you. Rather than actually produce it in-house, I can actually go somewhere where they'll get better value for money.
I like the idea of also people being able to broker something. It's like, I buy print so that you don't need to. I think that's a nice approach, because I still don't know how to buy print. I know what I want, or I know what I think I want, but it's always good to have somebody else say, well, have you tried that, etc. Or actually what you want, you could be doing it more effectively or whatever. You've just said something there, Barry, that I want to explore a little bit. There's a feeling that we no longer need as much print. Have you seen that affect business in any way?
The short answer is yes, but I think you have to adapt to what the client wants. You're absolutely right, and I do the same. I don't send paper invoices. They're all attachments to emails. So I'm not doing the print industry in volumes any good by doing that, but that's just the nature of the world. So you have to sort of cut your cloth and adjust your processes to reflect what people are actually doing. This morning, there was a guy who I was on a network meeting with him, and I made a brochure for him recently. And he was using this brochure to give away to prospective clients. It's quite an expensive thing to do. It's a couple of pounds for a book rather than just a piece of paper or a PDF. But he wanted to make a statement. And this 40-page brochure, his statement was, I want to invest as much time in you to get you to be my client as anybody else. So the point is, it's a short run, but it's targeted. It's targeted to people he thinks could be good clients. And I think that's the way the print industry is going. Smaller runs and targeted.
You said something earlier about being able to, say, run off an item and have different, I don't know, words or graphics on each item or each batch of items. I know there are online companies, print companies, that are specializing in this personalization. The only thing is, you've got to feel as if you know what you're doing, uploading stuff, etc. And I think it must put a lot of people off.
I can help people through that. That's not a problem. But so do these companies that do direct mail offerings for the big companies. We all get stuff every day through the front door, and if it's generic, it lasts about 4 seconds in our mind before it ends up in recycling. If it's direct directed to you and it says, "Dear Paul," you will at least read the first sentence.
Mm-hmm.
And once they've got you to read the first sentence, then the chances are you may actually flick through the rest of it and see if it's going to be relevant to you. You might only have it in your mind's eye for 4 or 5 seconds, but as you know, in marketing terms, getting someone's attention for those first critical seconds is absolute gold dust. And that's what, that targeted marketing can do to help that.
I think there's going to be a lot of people starting out businesses. Unfortunately, a lot of businesses will fold, or maybe a number of people will restart. And of course, then the first thing that whatever they're doing, I've always said the first thing they've got to do is to think about how they're going to grab attention. And I always feel in our conversations that you're about grabbing attention, you're about visibility. And business isn't just digital anymore. We think it's easy to think it's all digital, but it's not. The leaflet, the card, the postcard, they're all important still. And
absolutely. Absolutely. The marketing mix, which is, I think, one of the terms people use for this, is all important. The channels you can attract people to your business through are many and varied, and print is one of those channels. In the same way that social media is another, and the fact you could go on the television or on adverts on the side of buses or something. They're all different routes to get a message across. And what I do as a provider of print is just add one of those channels.
We're just about coming out of lockdown at the moment, and everybody's business has been affected. How has that affected this type of business that you're doing for people right now?
That's a really good question. I have seen a number of my clients over the last 2 months just completely disappear. They've gone to ground, not taking any part in business life whatsoever. And I believe that they will be, they will struggle to get back any form of momentum at all. My strategy all the way along has been to be visible and to be memorable and to be relevant to people. Research from previous crashes, economic crashes, wars, medical emergencies, that sort of thing, suggests that you're 9 times more likely to recover fast if you've remained visible and marketed yourself during the crisis. And that's what I've been doing. I mean, I've been doing 2 or 3 events a day online in terms of network marketing. I used to do 2 or 3 a week.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope to be the person that people remember at the end of this crisis when they say, I need a new box of business cards because I've started a new business, or I need a new roller banner, or a brochure, or whatever it is. So yes, you're right. I've been hopefully in people's eye line and been memorable in one way or another, simply because I want to be there at the end of all this.
I was listening to a podcast, and the guy on the podcast was talking about that very subject, that a lot of people had gone to the dark side. In other words, they'd disappeared. And he maintains that it's not going to be possible to disappear and then suddenly pop up 8 weeks later, 12 weeks later, say I'm back again, because out of sight, out of mind.
Absolutely. During this period, I've lost customers because their businesses have folded. Absolutely understandable. But I've gained new ones as well. It's almost a natural process, isn't it? Businesses go through life cycles and stop, and a new one starts. And at the moment, I'm looking to pick up anybody who wants to stay in business or has started a business.
Are there any particular print items or products that you handle that you've seen an increase in sales? during this
In
time?
the last few weeks, wide format printing for exterior banners has absolutely boomed. And what's interesting is, regardless of the company, the message is the same: we are open.
Hmm.
And so there have been banners for the sides of buildings, signs for the front door, all sorts of things. But that's been a common theme for these last couple of weeks. We are open. I'm
So
quite
that,
encouraged by that.
and of course, very shortly, there's going to be extra places that are going to be opening, shops, for instance, etc. And I think with the new rules that we'll be notified on of social distancing in restaurants and in shops, etc. I believe you've been doing some signage in that area.
Yes, absolutely. The return to work kit that people will need will be different from the stuff they've had in the past. Uh, People are being encouraged to wear face masks on public transport and in certain places where they get close to other people. So marketing a range of branded products seems to me to be a sensible thing to do to help people, maintain the standard of service that they're looking for in their businesses.
I think for shops and restaurants, etc., they may know that they use all the guidelines, but they need to show people that they are adhering to the guidelines, because I think people will be slow to go back shopping. They'll be slow to go back to restaurants, etc. And obviously, publicity and print could have a good effect on that.
Yeah, I mean, we've all seen the supermarkets with the lines on the floor with the stickers that say please stay 2 meters apart and that sort of thing. They're relatively easy to produce, but why not brand them? It's nice to have the sign on the floor, but it's an opportunity to put your message on the floor as well.
Mm.
You know, it's another opportunity. You're in someone's eye.
I noticed going around Wells that outside certain banks there are circular "stay safe, stay apart." I can't remember what's been said, but there's circular
Yeah,
signs on the pavement. Now that's extra foot. If you can do that, I suppose,
yeah,
outside any shop. It's a bit of extra collateral.
it is
Not,
absolutely. And the range of products that are available at the moment actually allow you to put a vinyl sticker, because that's effectively what it is, that sticks onto concrete. So it's not something that's going to come off when it rains.
right.
Um, and perhaps people who own shops don't understand what's available to them. They
Mm.
may have a sticker on a sheet of glass. That's easy. But if you want a sticker to stick on the paving stones outside your shop, we can do that. So
Mm.
it's just getting the message out there that we can support your creativity in many, many ways.
There is one thing that's particularly creative that I've noticed on your website, and that's video books. I thought that looks really innovative and interesting, but I've not seen it since. Is that something you still do? Or do you see a market for that?
I do see a market for that, but I think that they have to have, you have to understand that they are relatively expensive, and there is a trick in using them productively. For example, marketing agencies and some graphic designers and some videographers really like the idea of sending a video of what they do, of the processes they support, directly to a customer. So the address would be to Fred Blogs, Managing Director, XYZ Limited, the ultimate target. And then this book will arrive, and the first thing that people do when they get a book is open it. And as soon as you open it, it starts playing, and you've got them. And the second thing is, having got the book out to them, and you know that they've opened it, because we're all curious human beings. you can then phone them up and say, did you enjoy the video? If they say yes, great, off you go, arrange a meeting. If they say no, you say, well, I'm really sorry about that. Would you mind if they come in and pick up the video book and take it back, please? And you still get another opportunity to talk to them about it. So yes, they can be expensive, but they're excellent when they're targeted properly, and they can be cost effective because you don't actually leave them with the client unless the client signs up, in which case, stay there, you can have it. The other thing is they tend to be for more expensive items. I did a job for Audi UK, the car company, a couple of years ago now. They don't mind spending money when they're selling a car that's worth 30, 40, 50,000 pounds.
No.
And I think it's a case of making sure that you have the right product or service when you're using the video books. The other advantage of the video book is you can actually change the video. So, for example, there was a business coach up in the Midlands who took quite a large number of books, but they were all blank. There was a generic cover, and he put a personalized video on each one. So when he sent it out to a particular individual or company, the video was tailored to that business. And I thought that was a very clever way of using it. Rather than a generic video and a personalized cover, he did it the other way around. And if you introduce yourself with a video that says, "Hi Barry, this is Paul Clegg," then that's going to make me sit up.
What do you ask for most in all of your portfolio? It's not just about business cards, is it? Or is it?
No, it's not. It's not just business cards, and it's not just the simple products, the flyers and that sort of thing. It's when people get their heads around how effective a brochure can be. It can be a simple saddle-stitched brochure with staples, or it could be a perfect bound brochure, either with a soft cover or a hard cover. But they don't have to be huge volumes to be economical, and they can be very effective in marketing a business. People are less likely to throw away a brochure than they are a flyer. It's a piece of paper, A4, A5, bin it, not a problem. If you've got a 20-page booklet and it's a product or service or a company that you're interested in, you're going to flick through it, and you're less likely to throw it straight into the recycling. For me, I think that the exciting product, because people can be creative, are the folded flyers and booklets, because they can be so creative. And then running alongside that, as I said at the moment, is these things behind me, the wide format stuff. It's absolutely going through the roof at the moment. We are open being the key message, but also attracting people's eye to a door. A blank door says nothing. To put a panel on that door that says, this is my business, this is what I do, relatively inexpensive and very visual and very effective in attracting people's eye to what you're doing. So they're the two for me at the moment, is brochures and booklets and wide format print.
I think I was taught that there are two words in the English language that if you use them when they're not expected to be used, can increase business by 17%. And the two words are thank you. And it's when thank you is not expected. It's not when they've paid the bill or the end of the job, etc. It's after that, it's that little thank you. I'm reminded of that when you talked about cars, because there was a time when you bought a new car, there was a bunch of flowers, and it's a long time since I bought a new car, but there's a bunch of flowers. I don't know whether that still exists. But if companies can think of ways of saying thank you for standing by us during this crisis, thank you for coming back, I think that could be worth getting together with you to think creatively about how you provide those thank yous.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I have done myself, and I've also helped other people do, is the thank you card. When the order has been delivered and that the invoice has been sent out, a small greetings card that says thank you for your business is very effective, especially if it's signed by hand. People do business with people. And so every time you can reinforce that message, you've got a better chance of doing it again and again.
And also, it's the little things that make those relationships. We pass over things. It's the little things, and they're actually often little things that don't cost that much. Barry, I've just got one last question, and that is that we live in an age where everybody's encouraged to recycle. We're all environmentally aware, and there is maybe a section of people watching this video that is concerned about the trees, and that print is very disposable and we throw so much away.
I understand the questions people have regarding the environment. All the papers that we use here are FSC certified and grown in a sustainable manner. But I think what people don't realize is that the paper industry plants 3 trees for every one it cuts down to make paper. And in Northern Europe at the moment, we have more forest than we have had since at any time since the Dark Ages. And that's entirely due to paper production. When you look at the range of papers on offer, there's a huge quantity of recycled paper out there. We all put our bins out every week for the recycling people, and that paper does get recycled. But even recycled paper has to have an element of fresh fiber, otherwise it loses its integrity over time. So people who say, don't print this, save a tree, don't actually understand the reality of the print industry and its effects on the environment. It is a very green industry.
Barry, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today. I've really enjoyed the conversations we've had over the last few weeks, and it's rare that I come across anybody in business that is as savvy at marketing as you are. So thank you very much today.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. Thanks, Paul.
Cheers.